Hi, everyone. Well, today's guest knows what it feels like to have your own body turn against you. After battling an autoimmune disease that could have defined her limits, she chose a different path. I think one that spoke of discipline and nutrition and strength and faith. And she not only rebuilt her health, she stepped into a bodybuilding stage, authored a cookbook, and now helps other women reclaim control of their bodies and their confidence. So this is a conversation about resilience, responsibility, and what's possible when you decide that your diagnosis isn't your destiny. All on today's The Current Temp. Hi, everybody. I'm Joey Solopek. Thank you for being here with us. Of course, as always, thank you to Lexus of Memphis for being a great sponsor with us here. And a thank you to Pamela John, sitting right next to me, of Pamela John Fitness for joining the show. And I know you've got a fascinating story. I want to jump right into it because I'm not going to keep you here all day. But you battled an autoimmune disease. I think that was a turning point in your life and something you shared.
Right.
You've gone from that to being something I did not even know existed, an IFBB bikini pro athlete, personal trainer, wife, mother, life coach. Okay, that's a lot for me to throw at you at once. What motivated you to start this journey?
So as you said, I battled an autoimmune disease. That began in my early 30s after the birth of my last daughter.
Okay.
So I battled it for well over a decade, and the doctors throughout were telling me, you need to get rid of it. It's not going to get any better. And I kept arguing that God was going to heal me, that he could restore my health. But sometimes the answer is no. He wants us to, walk a different path for his glory. So we wound up taking it out 12 years later. The surgeon said it was...
This is the thyroid?
The thyroid, sorry.
Okay,
Graves' disease. I don't know if I mentioned what I had.
Yeah.
The autoimmune disease is Graves' disease.
Okay.
That's a disease in which your body attacks its own thyroid.
Okay.
So my thyroid was, in essence, dumping too much thyroid-stimulating hormone into my body, and I couldn't process it. And the thyroid, I don't know if you know what the thyroid does, but it basically runs everything in the body. It controls our heart rate.
It's a control center.
It really is, yeah.
Okay, so you get that removed.
So we got it removed. And once that happened, I felt for the first time in my adult life, what I perceived most I felt limitless.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was I just was so grateful to God. And I thought, what can I do to pay this forward? Women need to know that a diagnosis isn't like,
Your destination.
Right.
Right.
You don't have to settle into that. So I pursued a lot of different things. I first prayed really hard. I'm like, God, show me what I can do to reach these ladies. And I knew there weren't a lot of ways in which I was physically gifted. I knew I wasn't a great runner. I knew I wasn't a great swimmer. There's a big triathlete community here.
Right.
I wasn't going to tap into that. So basically through process of elimination, I came into bodybuilding.
Okay.
And I got my certifications as a trainer in Group X and started trying to reach women and help them.
That's how it started.
That's how it started.
And I know nutrition is a part of that as well, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But let's jump into this. As people age, and we're going to focus on women, okay?
Yes.
Especially, let's say, through 40s, 50s, and beyond, things like hormones, muscle mass, bone density, metabolism, everything changes, right?
It does.
How does that impact what we should be doing? And when we say we, I mean primarily we and women.
Right.
What should you be doing training and nutrition-wise to shift as your body shifts? What would you say?
So crazy as it were, I told you I prayed to God, how can I serve these women? And he said, do the weight training.
Okay.
That was the path he sent me on.
And it's also educational, I'm seeing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And at that time, I didn't realize how fantastic the message was, because as we age, we do begin to, for lack of a better way to put it, deteriorate,
Sure,
right?
sure.
Our hormones downregulate.
Or slow down.
Slow down,
Yeah.
right, exactly. And the only way to combat like osteoporosis and diabetes and all metabolic diseases, not the only, but one of the critical ways, is in being a good steward of your health and in building muscle.
Okay. All right.
Muscle is...
Which is not something most women don't gravitate toward. Would you agree?
They don't, but I think they're coming into it a little bit more
seeing a
as
shift?
people on social media are talking about it a lot
Okay.
and the value in, how important it is as we're aging. It's when you invest in and you work out in the gym, invest in building muscle, you're investing in your future health.
Right.
And you think about it this way. Let's just say you're pre-diabetic, okay? If you're pre-diabetic, that means your body can't process sugars,
Okay.
correct? If you have more muscle, more active muscle on your body, that's a good glucagon disposal agent, like a natural one. It's going to help you use glucose more effectively, right? It just...
What I'm hearing right out of the gates is, as I get older and I wake up and something hurts, part of my brain just wants to go, I'm just getting old.
Right.
But what I'm hearing is, and I like this thought, we don't have to just have acceptance. There's things we can do.
Absolutely.
Right. And that
Yes.
seems like that's part of your message.
Right.
Okay.
It totally is.
All right. I'm gonna dive into that in a minute as
Yeah.
well. And I'm gonna jump around because I was asked to ask this question. What's your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
Okay, intermittent fasting. So it's a mixed bag.
Okay.
And I always tell people whatever you're looking for, you can find.
Sure.
Like if you believe it's great, you can find it's great. If you believe it's terrible, you can find it's terrible. My opinion is that as women age, our cortisol levels have a tendency to become elevated pretty easily.
Okay.
And it's a stressor for women. So I don't think it's always the answer for women. I'm not saying for men it's going to be the same, but
But in your opinion, intermittent fasting, and I'm garbling that, not great. Okay.
We already have issues with our hormones down-regulating and cortisol levels being higher, and
All right, let's
all the things.
springboard off of that.
Yeah.
Do hormones play a role in weight fluctuation?
absolutely.
Okay.
And also in whether or not you're going to be able to build muscle effectively.
What can you do about that? What can if a woman out there is watching thinks maybe I'm having some hormone fluctuations, what do they do?
Well, they contact their practitioner and
GP?
they could contact their GP. Some won't work in that arena. There are some really great wellness clinics out there. I have someone I use that I love. Can I mention her?
Sure.
Natalie Nero. She's opening her own place at Trinity Wellness.
And these are called wellness clinics.
Yes.
So if somebody wanted to Google it or look it up, you're looking for a wellness
They
clinic.
could, yes. And she's opening in March. So
Okay.
Wellness MD's down the street from you here. I mean, there are a lot of really great resources out there. It's critical. In fact, there used to be a black box warning on all of these hormones. I don't know if you knew that.
I recently was told this. Go
And
ahead with that.
they've been removed.
The black box warning has been removed because we're seeing the benefits. Is that
Absolutely.
what you mean?
The benefits by far outweigh any of the risks they thought.
Okay. Well, explain this statement I read. I think I read this on your website. Strength isn't just built, it's lived.
Strength isn't just built, it's lived. Wow. That's a big one.
Is it about commitment?
It's about a lot of things. It's about discipline.
Okay.
It's about
Is it about buying in?
It's about doing the things even when you don't feel like it.
Which is always.
Right. When you're not motivated,
Okay.
you do it anyway. So to me, living out your strength is a lot about discipline and about faith and all the good things.
Well, for fellow couch potatoes,
Yeah.
as of someone who has tried to exercise for most of my life
Stop.
and never wanted to, but the way I would trick myself into doing it, especially if I was tired, and you're trying to
Yeah.
exercise at terrible parts of the day, is the belief that energy begets energy. That if I would
Absolutely.
actually get off the couch and walk or go to the gym or
Yeah.
do something, I would it seems counterintuitive, but you find your energy levels rising. Do you agree or disagree?
Absolutely agree. But here's the other trick for you. Get up in the morning before your brain even knows what you're doing.
Okay.
Put your clothes out by the bed that you're going to work out in before you go to bed.
Pre-stage.
Yes. That way you have less moments to resist.
To stumble?
Yes.
Okay.
So you have your clothes waiting for you. You know, you have your breakfast pre-planned, and then you're out the door.
All right.
Just go.
Let's jump to this. I want to talk about food for a minute.
Yeah.
How has nutrition changed and impacted you and anyone who wants to change their life? And that's a big question, but I know
it's a lot.
Food is the fuel, not to be cliche, but if you're putting processed junk in, you're going to feel terrible.
Right.
How do you counsel people when they come in and say, I need to change my life?
So, I mean, the enemy of execution is complexity. I try
Let's
to
say
make
it again. I like that.
The enemy of execution is complexity.
So make it easy.
Yes.
Okay.
And we just do a little at a time. You can't give them, a horse and say, eat this. You've got to give them like a little hoof or a little something. You can't give them.
Don't go for the orchard. Start with the apple.
Absolutely.
So I just came up with that. That was good.
Start little.
That was really,
that was good.
Really good. Yeah, you can
I
use
like
that.
that.
Thank you.
You.
Yeah.
You might want to write that down for me.
Keep going. So make it easy.
Absolutely. And this comes from someone, you don't know this about me. Like I was a pack-a-day smoker for over 20 years.
Okay.
I grew up on fried bologna sandwiches and ketchup sandwiches.
You're making me hungry.
God, ketchup sandwich is making you hungry?
Fried bologna.
I mean, and I'd have a 32-ounce big gulp of Coca-Cola with me all the way through my, 20s, 30s?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I woke up or was born into eating, well, my parents didn't exercise, you know.
Right.
It's not something that you have to, be born into, and you can change at any given moment. God gives you the ability to change.
Let's start.
You don't have roots.
Well, let's start with this, and I don't want to. We're going to wrap this up in a minute because I don't want to keep you too long.
Yeah.
But it seems to me like one of the biggest battles, you alluded to this earlier, is mental.
Absolutely.
And especially as we age. And again, I'm focusing for women because I think they're underserved in this capacity. Men, we seem to try to exercise more. But like you said, I think there's a national shift towards wanting to have better health. If someone's watching who's like, this doesn't apply to me, I can't do anything, how do they attack that mental hurdle?
That's really my message to women, and that was really my platform. You're never too old. You're never too sick. You're never too anything. If you have the desire and God tells you, go for it, who can be against you, right? I mean, it's so doable. Look at me, a pack-a-day smoker for over 20 years, Graves' disease. I tore my meniscus last fall. I can't even remember. I mean,
here's what I would say to that.
It's what you decide.
See, and expound on this for just a second.
Yeah.
Because in my brain, I go, yep, you did that, but that's because you have willpower and I can't. I think a lot of people have that feeling, that people who are actually able to turn it around, you're just wired differently. But I'm a believer that we can all rewire ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do
Yes.
you agree?
Absolutely. I do believe that.
How would somebody begin rewiring?
Well, what I did was, again, like small steps. I started listening to podcasts.
Okay. About what?
Some were about changing your mindset.
Okay. So
right? That's a simple place to
start. So you didn't just jump into food. You said, how do I change my mindset?
You have to change. If you want to change 180.
And your faith was a part of this as well.
It was the biggest part of this.
Okay.
All of this.
All right.
I mean, I talked to my priest before I ever walked this journey.
Okay.
So, but yes, I mean, you start small, find where you're deficient, what you want to grow in, and then you strike out looking for resources, connections, aspire to meet people who are better than you at what you're aiming for, right? Hang out with them, all the things. So
what Pam and I like to say is start with the apple and head to the orchard, trademark. Okay. So let's say this. Let's end with this, and then we're gonna give you a little bit of a plug here.
Oh, thank you.
How do you battle a avalanche of terrible information like TikTok? Because the dumbest. I'm not a TikTok follower because there's so much dumb and bad information out there.
Is.
And really, I think a national problem and where we're spiraling is into false and bad information. When someone comes to you and is exercising, do you find that you're having to dispel myths or erase bad stuff?
I'm blessed, and that the clients that I have, we've been together for a long time,
Okay.
so they know better. But to people who don't know better, they need to know that there are a lot of snake oil salesmen out there, and this is their platform.
Good word.
Do your due diligence, and I would honestly tell them, find a good trainer, find someone who can educate you. And a good trainer doesn't want you forever. They'll tell you they want you, like Jesus says, teach a man to fish. They want you to learn, and they want to be able to set you off on your own so you can execute anywhere you go.
And move you down the line.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So anyway.
No, I like that. Any final thoughts? I'm excited for our society because, you know, I've seen even administratively a push towards fewer food dyes,
Right.
cleaner living, you know, farm to table when that's possible. You know,
Absolutely.
any kind of
Yep.
closing thoughts on that?
So I would encourage your listeners to look for whole food sources, stay out of the processed foods, and on down the line, pandemic, the biggest problem that I'm noticing that most people have is they underconsume protein. So more protein, more protein, more protein.
And I would say clean proteins.
Well, yes,
Right.
whole foods.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Not protein bars. Yes.
Okay.
Steak, you know,
Things that will fill you up.
exactly. Salmon.
And
That kind of
start
thing.
with a bite and start walking down the line.
There it is.
Okay,
Yes,
we've got new
perfect.
trademarks here. All right, listen, if you would like to reach out to Pamela John, here's her Instagram and Facebook, Pamela Fit for Life, and then her website, Pamela John, fit4life.com. You can get in touch with her and ask questions or just get some advice. I'm sure she would be happy to do that. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Listen, friends, thank you for being here. As always, if you've got a question for us, email us, thecurrenttemp@gmail.com. You can find us, of course, here on Facebook, on our YouTube channel, or on Spotify. We're going to be going to some other platforms very shortly as well. You've got Charles Atlas in the audience today. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. We've got some exciting guests coming up over the next few weeks, and we appreciate Pam for being here. Thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.